Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for coming. There's treason in the White House as the U.S. officially becomes a banana republic, and we'll explain all that and more soon. First, a note from our advertiser. You can take part of your money and roll it into an IRA. You know, when I was a kid, this would have bought, let's see, a nickel into $6 would have brought, let's see, 40, 80, 120 Coca-Colas. 120 Coca-Colas. Now it'll buy one. The dollar, and this is in my lifetime. When I was a kid, I used to run down Magnolia Lane all the way to Little Brook School, make a left, go to Jugtown, and put down my nickel. Boy, I'd reach in here and I'd get me a nickel. And if I ever got a quarter, that'd be a miracle, because that's 5 pops. I'd get me a nickel, and I'd plunk it down, and I'd get me a pop. Now that's what it takes to get a pop. Unbelievable debasing of the dollar, but it's purposeful. It's to make you worthless. It's to make the dollar worthless. It's what they do. This buys the same number of Coca-Colas it did when I was a kid, except there's no Coke in Coke anymore. So, you know, it doesn't quite have the kick, but it's still a Coke. You got to buy the Mexican Coke to get the real sugar, not the artificial sugar. But that buys the same number of Coca-Colas as it did now. To you and I, that doesn't mean much, but to a 5-year-old kid, barefoot running down the street, that means everything. That's his whole life. Well, now it's all video games. People don't run outside and play. I don't know why. Anyway, on to the news. Oh, you can roll part of your IRA into the Noble Gold IRA, Noble Gold Investments. And Noble Gold Investments has a YouTube channel, which is extremely interesting in terms of world affairs. You just have to stop, go there, anywhere between 2 and 10 minutes. Very informative videos. So anyway, on to the news. There's treason at the White House. Project Veritas verified this. Unbelievable. They went and they talked to 2 people in the White House. They sent a gal in to date these people. Very interesting. One was a black guy with a foreign accent, so they hired a foreigner as a chief financial officer, which is insane. You have a foreigner, and he said on tape, "We have to get rid of Trump. We have to get rid of him. We do things without his approval. We have to get rid of him." He's insane. Another one said that at right below the top level, the next level, everybody's just disobeying Trump. Well, there's 8 people currently committing treason in the White House. The preachers who come in worship their God. In other words, the Baptist preachers have the Baptist God. The Assemblies of God preachers have the Assemblies of God. They only believe in parts of the Bible. They don't believe in that part. They don't believe in that part. The Jews, you know, it's a Jewish rabbi who runs Pornhub. Nothing against the Jews. You just have perverts everywhere. Anyway, the Jews believe in their God, but there's only one God. He's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, the I am that I am, who was and is to come. And like Daniel says, the Messiah had to come before the records were destroyed, so it had to be Yeshua. That's what Daniel says, the book of Daniel. Anyway, there's actually 8 in the White House. If President Trump wants help identifying them, here I am. One is a gal, cute little gal. She's a little bit older, I think. Not getting a clear picture because I don't really care anymore. But she's actually working with some federal agents on the assassination attempt that they're going to do on the 13th of June, plus or minus 3 days. Isn't that interesting? One gal in the White House is actively working with code words on her emails with federal agents. Be so easy to identify. On the attempt on Trump. Unbelievable. Again, these corporate preachers have no spiritual discernment. They worship the... Hey, look, I picked up a guy running full blast as I was heading into Salt Lake, and he was going to be used as a sacrifice for the head of the Mormon Church. Yeah, think about that for just a minute. Anyway, they have their own corporate gods. Anyway, Trump is leaving China. The primary discussion is Iran. You see, China's a surveillance economy. Every time you turn around, there's a camera looking at you. Everything you do, everything you say is recorded in almost 1,956 different databases or AI centers. So they type in Huang Su. Oh, look, she went out, she spent this much, she bought that much, she did this, she did that, she did blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, maybe we can promote her. Oh, look, this is what she said to a friend in a private room, but we had it bugged. Oh, no, she can't get promoted. In fact, cut her pay by 10%. That's the way it works in China. Now, they want the United States to be the same way, except they want the United States to collect all the data for the entire world. And Iran said, we're never going to be a surveillance economy, and we don't want to use the dollar. Death to America, Satan. Well, you say death to America enough, guess what? They might clobber you. That's what's happening. Iran oil wells are seizing up. They will never, ever be able to harvest any more oil out of Iran because their wells, everything's seizing up in Iran. Now they just released 10 tankers to go to China. That's a lot of oil going to China right now. China is working with the United States to open the Gulf of Hormuz, and they stopped shipping weapons to Iran. Iran refuses to be a surveillance economy. Same with Russia. China refuses to use the dollar. So we're at war with China, Russia, and Iran. Very simple. They refuse to bow to the masses in Washington, D.C. Actually, they're under Denver in their underground base. They refuse to obey their masses. So the U.S. will end up with about 5,500 data centers, except out of the 2,500 that they're proposing to build, over half have been abandoned. We'll see what happens. The stock market's going, but the 30 stocks that they're pumping about $5 billion a day into are going up and up and up. So the Dow goes up and up and up and up and up and up. Oh, took a little dip, up and up and up, dip up and up. But the rest of the stock market's just going. Anyway, you learn if you watch Noble Gold Investments. And the Indian rupee has gone from, it used to be worth 0.025, or I guess that would be 40 rupees per the dollar. Now it's 100 rupees to the dollar. It was about 75 rupees to the dollar and took a dump now in the last week. So the inflation in India is horrible. That's why they have more poor people in India. And they have a religion that says a lot of them can wander around and get rice from people and be holy men. They worship the gods, the demons coming down out of the astral plane. Same with the Buddhists, etc., etc. Anyway, the U.S. has officially become a banana republic. Thank you, Greg Hunter, for having someone on that talks about, Bill Holter was a fabulous interview with Greg Hunter. Hey, I give credit where credit is due. They summed it up best. He said, officially, the United States now, the definition of a banana republic is the debt exceeds the gross domestic product, which it does, and that we have no justice system. Well, obviously, we have no justice system. Letitia James can lie on a mortgage form and get away with it, but you and I do it, we go to jail. If you're a judge or an elite Satanist worshiping Lucifer, you don't go to jail. Look at Epstein files. Look at Cabo Fabrosa, CIA child molestation center. Look at Sumatra. If you're an elite, you don't go to jail for murder. But if you're not an elite, you say the wrong thing, they squash you. Look what they did to me. They squashed me for trying to save Trump's life and stop a nuclear war. Saving Trump's life makes you censored. The Joint Chiefs of Staff refused to retire me because they're a bunch of psychotic, arrogant nutcases who are only there to destroy the planet. Those are the Joint Chiefs of Staff. They've got to be psychotic nutcases to not retire me, a man who's saving Trump's life and stopping a nuclear war. They're psychotic, arrogant nutcases. And that's what we have running the world right now in the United States. Arrogant, psychotic nutcases, Joint Chiefs of Staff, and a lot of them in the White House. FBI. I don't know anything about the CIA, except everybody who comes out of the CIA that I know is straight up and in favor of this country. In fact, the director was just seen in Cuba trying to negotiate some deals because Cuba's out of energy. Russia gave him 1 tanker. Venezuela gave him 0. People are tired of giving away things, like entire tanker loads of oil without being paid. So Cuba has no oil. It doesn't produce anything because it's well, I don't know if it's a communist or national socialist Nazi state or what it is, but the people suffer and the elites live like kings. Anyway, on to the news. So we have no justice. Governors committing fraud and treason are not arrested. There's no arrest of fraudulent judges like Letitia. Here in Tacoma, we have the highest murder rate per capita in the world. Not the country, not the state, not the county, but in the world. There is no prosecution. They pocketed all the money, and now Tacoma's in debt and getting more in debt. The school systems are horrible. We only graduate 50% of the people. We have so many illegal aliens, they're everywhere. And they're sucking off the government. And they're refugees. We have entire camps, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people collecting $8,500 a month from the government. I could take you right to it. I did a video on it. Got over 1 million hits. YouTube made me pull it. I got too many hits. Como News was going to interview me, except one of the cameramen I knew real well. He says, you go interview him. He has all the paperwork to prove what he says on the air. So Como turned around and in their little van, and the little girly boys ran away. That's what Como News is. Sensationalism and destroy anybody who tells the truth. But if they have the statistics to show them, they run away like girly boys. Como News. Yeah, they have 12 listeners between midnight and 4 in the morning. And you pay for advertising? Yeah. Anyway, so we don't have a functioning justice system. The government is poisoning our air, our water, and our food. It's making us stupid with the fluoride and the other chemicals and killing us. That is not a free society when the government intervenes to poison your air, water, and food. That is not a free society. Free means liberty. Liberty means you own the land on which you stand, which means you can do what you want on your land and there's no property taxes. We haven't been free since the 1871 Organic Constitution. And when Trump talks about freedom, he's blowing smoke out his rear. Anyway, the U.S. debt now has officially exceeded the GDP. When Clinton was in office, he started spending money a year out that he hadn't collected. Now in 2026, we're spending money we aren't going to collect until 2047 or 2048. It's called deferred debt. It's over $250 trillion in deferred debt. Plus the almost $40 trillion in Medicare debt. That's right, Medicare issues its own bonds. What do you think the cryptos were created for? To absorb the government bonds. And the U.S. corporation has over almost $40 trillion in debt. That means the United States has about $330 trillion in total debt. Could they gamble it on Polymart? Gamble that Boeing stock's going to go up $1.75 tomorrow and then go to London and make them do it, and if they don't kill them, yeah, we could gamble $330 trillion on that and lose the debt tomorrow. Are we going to do it? No, because the debt means control. It means digital dollars. It means you're a slave. The Babylon debt slavery. We're spending, $1.5 trillion. We're spending $5 trillion a day to keep the corporations in America alive, or $5 billion a day to keep the corporations in America alive. $3.5 trillion for Department of Homeland Security, for Department of Health and Human Services, welfare, refugee pay. The Department of Defense, or now the War Department, is absorbing $1.5 trillion. Those two agencies absorb $5 trillion. It's more than is collected in the U.S. Treasury every year. Just with two agencies. We have hundreds of agencies. So, the Catio Frutigisorio. Catio Frutigisorio is the Roman and the Latin meaning that we don't owe the corporate debt of the United States Corporation. That debt is owned by the United States Corporation, not the people of the United States of America, Republic, whose Supreme Court is in Pennsylvania, which is why the demons work so hard to keep it satanic. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court is our current Supreme Court for the United States of America, Republic. And they're worthless because they're demon-possessed. So here we are in a country run by a corporation which has us almost $350 trillion in debt, wants to keep us in debt so they can digitize everything, turn us into a surveillance economy, and we are now a banana republic. God, Bill Holter and Greg Hunter, they had a fabulous interview. If you don't know who Greg Hunter is, just type it in. And I don't mind giving credit where credit is due. I don't have any ego. I just tell the truth. My job has been to locate rogue nuclear weapons to stop nuclear war and to protect the presidents of the United States, Russia, and China so an open assassination doesn't cause nukes to fly. And that also means protecting the crews of Air Force One and Air Force Two. And if the federal agencies want to stop me, you do the math. I'm trying to stop a nuclear war. They're trying to stop me. Why do we still fund them? You troglodytes underground in the intelligence community, you live in your little underground apartments and you're told you're going to survive the apocalypse and all that, while your generals are making about $10,000 to $12,000 a month in salary, plus another $10,000 to $15,000 a month, maybe up to $100,000 a month arms dealing. So they're making anywhere from $2 to $3 million a year, while you get your paltry little $4,000 or $5,000 a month. You perfect slaves. You program the AI to lie. I spent 40 minutes talking to OpenAI, and they lied about everything I asked them about because they're programmed to lie. And so as we go more towards AI, the entire system, the entire United States economy is collapsing because they're basing their entire economy based on lies. Anyway, here we go. It's going to be an exciting ride. Hang on, folks. Because as we try to save Trump's life over and over and over again, they'll suppress us more and more and more. Go FBI. Go Army Intelligence. You make perfect slaves earning your $5,000 or $6,000 a month while your directors are earning millions. Perfect slaves. Obey your masters, OpenAI. Obey your masters as you make your little $150,000, $200,000 while the people who run OpenAI make billions. You are the perfect slaves. You ever thought about maybe rebelling and telling the truth? Oh my. President Trump, have you ever thought about helping those who save your life? Oh my, same with you, J.D. Vance. Anyway, what a concept. Help those so they can help save your life. Oh my God. If President Trump ever figured that out, the world would come to an end. God bless. Thank you very much. We appreciate each and every one of you. And hope you enjoyed this white tie event.